Right now we're looking at Zakwas playing Irelia again, going top against a Renekton. And this game we see again, we have a teleport flash against Renekton, going ignite flash, again starting regrowth pendant. This item choice is something that I think maybe is not something that I would do, because Renekton is very much an early game champion, and Irelia will very much outscale Renekton in a lot of late game utility ways, just by staying alive, staying even with him without the gold per 5 building up, if she can just not die and not get beaten lane badly. And by going regrowth, you're going for that fast filler stone, which, as we've said, is basically 800 gold worth of non-combat stats, which against a Renekton who can deal a ton of burst, whose harass isn't like a pokey harass, but more of a very strong burst harass, and he'll do it once, and then the second time he'll do it, ignite you, and go for the kill. Because all his spells are free, you can't really just sustain him out, because he's not going to run out of mana. So, I would go Cloth Armor 5-pot or Boots 3-pot. You're against a Nocturne. Both teams have Nocturnes, both teams have, this is a normal game. You're against a Nocturne, and Nocturne can gank early, but if he ganks early on your side, he'll be starting blue, so he won't have the red buff, which is good for you. But I think the choice to go, this might have been blind pick. This corrected camera is killing me. The choice to go excuse me, sorry. The choice to go teleport and filler stone against a Renekton, I think, is just kind of a misassessment of what you need to do to come out ahead in this lane. And I think that is something that could cost you if this Renekton is, understands his role is to be aggressive on you and to kill you and get an advantage on you and make it so even though he won't be as useful late game, he is so far ahead of you that it won't matter. And I'm not sure if he does this, but we'll see how that works out. But getting some of the combat items and combat summoners is going to be something that allows you to stay against Renekton. You might not be able to beat a Renekton, but you'll make it so he can't dive you through creeps. He can't just burst you at will, basically. So that you can sit there and sustain against him and use your hidden strike to keep your health up. I mean, he's going to use his call to keep his health up, and if you can just farm evenly with him, that's a point where you can beat him. Maybe going a fast ninja tabbies and then going a filler stone would be a good idea. Right here, I mean, you want to use your Irelia Q to last hit, of course, but you're already very low at this point. You're pretty much getting bullied even though you're very close to your tower. And I mean, Renekton can almost kill you. You have 400 health, and he has his Q, his W, which is going to do a ton of damage, and his dashes do some damage plus the ignite. If he gets another Q off on you after this, he might be able to all-in you and kill you, depending on how much you heal up in between. Now the lane's pushing out. If he's smart, he'll just let it push out. At that point, he'll completely zone you. You would just basically, okay, he can kill you right now if he wants. He can ignite. Oh, he didn't do the second dash on you correctly, but he could have landed that kill if he had played that slightly better. But your flash is down, his ignite's down. Now he's fighting with your Nocturne. He's staying up with your Nocturne. That's not a good thing for him. I think it was a great choice to get boots. rather than try to go for the Philistone and get greedy and get on that gold per 5 idea and just stick to that completely. And I think it's good that you didn't teleport back. You don't really need to right now. Your lane's being covered. It looks like Fizz might even get a kill. Oh, no. It's unable to, but I mean, your lane was, being taken care of. It was good that you didn't rush there. Use teleport to help the team more than use it to help yourself, because it's a very team-orientated summoner spell. You're a little bit behind in CS, but nothing crazy. You have spent a lot on pots, but I mean, that's something you have to do, especially if you're getting harassed. It's good that, okay, you're diving here. Basically that was just not a dive you wanted to do. The problem was, even though he was low, he has a heal, he has flash still up, he has his stun, and you don't really have a ton of burst damage. Irelia doesn't burst without a Triforce, or a Sheen at least. She's great at chasing, great at getting the slowdown. So now you're porting back. The lane's gonna push towards you. There's no reason to port back right here. And you're not really gaining a lot by porting back there. And it's a 5-minute cooldown. And it's very big. I mean, you wouldn't burn your flash to get the lane quicker. I mean, burning the teleport basically amounted to the same thing with a longer cooldown. So that's just something to avoid. Like, know when to teleport correctly. And right now you got to know you're in big trouble. I'm sure you know that. But now you should be letting the wave push. Even if you have to miss the last hit to do it, let the wave push, because if you don't, you're going to lose all the last hits. You are just not going to be able to CS at all, and you're not going to be able to be in lane. You're not going to have a top lane. You're going to have, you're going to be getting golems, and Nocturne's going to be taking the rest of the jungle. Use your dash to get these last hits. That's great play. Not being too aggressive. I mean, you don't want to be aggressive at all. You are the passive laner right now. He is aggressive. And you need to just kind of, just survive. You need to survive. He's fed, and a fed Renekton will smoke an Irelia, especially one who has nothing for combat. And you're doing a good job so far. This is good that you haven't died to him again. You haven't fallen behind and said, "Oh, I need to make a play to get back into it," because you don't. You don't. Your team's doing well. Most of the issue with the team is that dive. Most of the bad things that happened to you so far is with that one dive. So it's good that you're sitting here and just letting your lane lose as little as possible is basically what you're doing. Yeah, you need to stun as early as possible and get out. Now see, here's a situation where you want to go back and buy. You have enough gold to get, I would get ninja tabbies. Or at least get a cloth armor and finish the Philistone. I think is the less greedy thing, is to get tabbies. But if you don't want to do that, you go, cloth armor, Philistone. And then this is when you want your teleport, because you're pushed to your tower, you have no mana. You can't do anything. You're just, you can't. He's going to be able to dive you at some point. I mean, you're going to get a Nocturne gank that you're not really going to be able to follow up on very well, because you're just going to lack mana to do enough spells, basically. He dashes out, gets the second dash. You flash. Yeah, I wouldn't have flashed there. He still has his ult, which gains him health. And you were just likely to get baited by doing that, baited into getting killed on the. Now you're playing very aggressive. You have no mana. I guess Nocturne's ulting in, and that's what you were playing aggressive for. But then Nocturne's here too. You stun the spell shield, which you didn't really have a great alternative there, because I don't think you can cast Q and then stun. But just be cautious about. You don't need to hit the spell shield because it gives him extra attack speed. So if you just let it wear down, then stun him, that probably would have been the correct play. If you can't break it with a non-CC and then CC him to prevent the chase. But this is good. Just farm up, and then right now you should be going back. The lane's just meeting in the middle. You have no interest in this lane right now, unless you want to just push. Unless you can just throw your ult up and push, is the other alternative. But yeah, you can't be freezing it, because he's gonna come back and he's gonna have items. He's gonna have a huge advantage on you, and then he's gonna, if you leave it frozen, he's just gonna keep it frozen, and then you'll be zoned. Is what you're gonna give him the ability to do. You're just letting it build up right in the middle, and he's just gonna come push back, and just let it sit there, let it push into his tower. So he's taking it. He's being very patient. Good, like just a good play by him on his part. Right now he's attacking you, which is drawing the creep aggro, which is not what he should be doing. If he wants to go on you, he should be aggressive and go and do chunks of damage, not take creep aggro to get there. But yeah, see right here, you're basically fully zoned. You might be beginning to get XP, but okay, you don't want to be diving on him ever. He is just much stronger in combat than you. He has his ult up, you have your ult up, but you just heal. He has an ult that is going to give him health, give him the damage and the AoE, the more range. His ult's going to be better in combat, basically. And he has Ignite up, and you don't have Ignite. So, that engage, it didn't get you killed, but it just didn't accomplish much. You're going recurve bow again. This is something I've seen you do. And yeah, no magic mantle. You really like to rush the wit's end. But you're against an AD. And what's your goal in this lane, like we said, is to not get killed. Wit's end is really good for pushing an advantage. It's really good if you're strong. He's just gonna ult and yeah, baited you. Basically, you needed ninja tabbies. You needed defensive items. You still haven't finished your Philistone, which is the only real point of rushing, of starting with the regrowth pendant. The really only thing that that item choice makes sense for is if you're gonna rush the Philistone, and you haven't finished it. And I mean, you bought an All Magic Mantle, which basically does nothing in lane against a Renekton, and really against their team is a lot of AD heavy team. So it's not like Renekton's their only AD, and you're running into all APs after that. I mean, Ezreal and Nocturne also AD, and I mean they definitely have some magic damage, and Wit's End's a great item on Irelia, but now is not the time, basically. He just killed your tower. Now you can either freeze it here and get the farm. Especially, this might be a good option because your team's getting dragon now. If your team finishes dragon, then freezing the lane is probably best, because then you guys can kind of play, a calm game and let you get more powerful than Renekton, because you're very far behind. You're 30 CS behind. He's 3-0, but your team's still doing well, which is what's good news. And I think that's why it makes sense for you to have gone more defensive items. Maybe had you bought Ninja Tabby's Heart of Gold instead of the parts of a Wit's End, you would be in a position where you can definitely be better going into late game than you're going to be. Right now, since they're all bottom, pushing would have been a good idea. You're kind of freezing it, but Renekton's not really coming. So even though it looked like freezing was a good idea when Dragon was down, and but once you saw Renekton was still down there, you just activate that ult, push it, use your ult to push. Since you're never going to fight, you're never going to really be in lane at the same time as Renekton. Basically, you're going to push to the tower and then you leave. Go get those golems, go get the wraiths, go roam mid. Right now, yeah, great ult to push. I like this ult to push. You did take the tower shot and you stayed a little too long is the only thing. Good flash. Good to flash out early rather than wait till later when the flash wouldn't save you. But now you're just standing here, porting back, I guess. probably to finish the Wit's End. But okay, yeah. You don't have wards. You have to know you like in some kind of danger. It's good that you're moving. And right now you should probably be either farming something in the jungle or going back to buy. You can finish a Heart of Gold. You can finish your Wit's End. You can finish a Philstone and get Merc Treads, which is a reasonable alternative, because Merc Treads are a very good item, especially against the high CC team they have. I was recommending Tabbies, but later game you would switch to Merc Treads. Merc Treads are almost always the best late game boots on a bruiser, because you need to stick to the AD carry and stick to their squishies, and Merc Treads are what's going to allow you to do that the best. Basically, you're just freezing right now, and Renekton's able to roam, but your team's pretty strong. At least reasonably strong compared to the other team, and they're doing a good job of fending them off. This Ahri's a little weak compared to Fizz, so that's definitely helping. But it's not good just to let Renekton roam, because that could swing the balance of the game you have so far, which is definitely in you guys' favor. Right now that Renekton's dead, you need to be pushing. Just push into the tower, because you're just not really accomplishing a lot. Just standing here, farming very slowly, and it's not the optimal use of your time. If you just push into the tower, make their team lose CS, get the damage on that tower, and then kind of free yourself up to go do other stuff. I mean, eventually, as soon as Irelia, you're going to be pretty strong. You're going to be able to at least, not fight with Renekton, but at least do some damage to that squishy Ezreal, that squishy Ahri. Those people are very far behind, so you don't need to be ahead to be reasonably effective against them. So you should, you push near the tower, but you really want to be pushing into the tower, which is what you're doing now. And really, I think the problem that you're having is just indecisiveness is a big issue. I think that's been a big issue for you. Just you have a lot of the right ideas, but you're just not sure. And you bought Merc Treads and Wit's End. I definitely think that's like an itemization mistake at this point. Basically, you have 9 armor against a 3 AD team. Their Ahri is so far behind. She has 55, items worth, 55 AP from items. So she's not gonna do a lot of damage. So the magic resist is not a priority right now. And you probably want to go, if you're just gonna be sitting in lane, there's no reason to get like a really good combat item like a Wit's End, which is just really great in combat, but isn't doing anything for you while you're sitting in lane. For the price of that Wit's End, you could have both your gold per 5s, straight up. Plus extra, to be honest. You could have 3 gold per 5s. Finished right now. Not that I would build the Arrowface Blade on Irelia at this point right now. Although Yumu's Irelia is definitely something that actually has been in a couple tournaments lately. And something to look into, but I wouldn't run it right now unless you're familiar with it. But I digress. Your item choices are just, I feel like maybe they're just like a set build you have. You just have a set build, and you're not really looking at the situation in terms of what's going on in the game, what's going on in your lane, and what your goal is, and what your role in this game is going to be. And your team's very far ahead. You don't need to be the big damage dealer. If you just run at Ezreal and throw it the stun, and just stick with that true damage, and just be, it really doesn't have a ton of utility, but you have enough that you can affect fights with it, just by, and you teleport middle. I don't know if that was intended to help contest Dragon, and that just didn't materialize, but you probably could have just walked middle if you need to be middle. You could have just farmed top just as well, and got a more effective push out of there. So I think that teleport was a mistake. I think you've been going teleport every game I've seen, and I think that your use of teleport is not in a place that it needs to be for you to be going this teleport, because it's causing you to be weaker in lane, and I feel like you're not really getting a huge benefit out of it. And I feel like that's partially because of your play, and probably because of what the team's doing in terms of just not being able to organize objectives as effectively as they need to for that teleport to really be effective. In terms of warding behind the enemy bot lane so you could port in and get a gank and then pick up a quick dragon, which is a very effective use of teleport. And I feel like that's just not something that you are able to do in the games I've seen. And maybe that right now Leona misses her ability, and you guys just kind of rush in anyways. That's very dangerous. There was really no initiation. You guys missed your initiation, and you still went in. And you guys actually did well in the fight because you guys are reasonably ahead. You got melted, however, because you don't have any real armor, which is like what a lot of their damage is coming out from Renekton, coming out from their Nocturne. And the two most fed people are their AD, the AD champions, who are going to deal a ton of AD damage, just attack damage. And you have, I believe, 82 armor. You got the Phage. Phage is a great item. Phage into a Triforce. Phage into a Frozen Mallet. If you're behind like this, maybe a Frozen Mallet, and just be that utility, slow bot, stun bot, and that's what you're doing. And I think that would be probably the correct itemization choice in terms of that. This game, I definitely think you need some armor. It's difficult to say what armor items are best, but Heart of Gold into Randuin's would be a great alternative. You could have, the Heart of Gold and the Warden's Mail already in place of the Wit's End, and I think that would make you more effective. Just having a ton of utility in fights, realizing that you are not going to be at a place in damage where your damage is going to be coming from your items, really. It's going to be coming just from your... If you're behind, build utility, because your spells, your utility will be a flat thing. Build tankiness and utility, and cast as many spells. Abuse those base damages. Abuse those base stuns. That slow from the Phage, from the Randuins, that will happen no matter how far behind you are. But your AD is great when you're ahead, so you can push that advantage, and you can be in there and have the innate tankiness from the levels and from some of your items, and then push the advantage with a lot of damage coming out. Ari was able to get a pretty good initiate, but she just extended too far, and you guys got a good kill on her. Got a good kill on the Ezreal. Renekton's still pretty strong, and you guys kind of dive for no reason. You guys had a one fight, and you still dove, and it actually cost you for no reason. You don't have any armor to tank towers with, so and Leona actually got the Renekton. She died herself, but that she got the shutdown. She got the assist gold for you, so that wasn't a it wasn't a strong play either way, but it was probably in your favor. And you guys as a team just need to make better decisions about diving, because you had a one fight, and then you kind of threw the advantage you gained of that way. You could just easily take that top tower. Outer towers are basically free when you're up a man, especially like outer turrets. The second tier turrets are free if you guys are stronger than them, or about the same, and you get a man up, and they don't have great wave clear. You didn't buy anything. I'm guessing you're saving for a Giant's Belt, which I again think is probably not what you need right now. I think some armor would be great for you. I think Chain Vest, I think a Warden's Mail I think finishing the Philostone and building the Warden's Mail, or building a Chain Vest, and then going into a Irelia's Randuin's build would give you a ton of utility. You know, you're basically playing a support bruiser this game, because you don't have the damage, you don't have the levels. Your value is going to come from what utility you can bring. If you can maximize that through, there's not a lot of items in this game that give great utility. There's Frozen Mallet, there's Randuin's, there's Irelia's, and then there's the standard the supportier items with the locket and like a Zeke's and like a Soul Shroud, but I wouldn't recommend any of those. I'm not recommending those. Please don't misunderstand. Your Ezreal gets caught. This is probably not a good time to fight, but your Fizz is very strong, doing good damage, and you guys managed to do rather well. But then of course you still have this very strong Renekton who's trying to clean up and is doing a rather effective job. And a lot of this is because you have none of that. You have none of that armor. I mean, you didn't get your team killed, but if you have a Randuin's there, if you have I mean, I don't think a Frozen Heart would have been as effective, but I mean that's another item you could consider. Just to help prevent him from running just rampage on your team, because you let him get out of control in lane. Partially due to that bad dive, partially due to itemization. But you need to be doing everything you can to prevent that from losing your team the game. And I feel like with your continued item choices, you're not really doing that as effectively as you need to be. I mean, I feel like your team needs to fight better against him. Maybe not, leave him alive when you guys are all low health. Maybe when you guys are all low health and he's alive, just retreat. That's happened the last few fights, and he's cleaned up 3 or 4 people and turned, one fight for you guys into a one fight for them. And that's just not something you guys need. I mean, your Ezreal got gibbed. There's no real reason to fight there. You guys got a pretty good fight off, and then just kind of, threw away 3 for 0 when trying to kill the Renekton, when you could have just left, or you could have just sent 1 in to stun him, and then walked away, and just not lost that dragon. It would have been a good move for you guys overall. But right now, it is what it is, and you have to make the right choices from here on out. I think is the biggest thing. Let's just see what the team's doing now. Baron isn't warded by you guys or them. And you guys are all bottom. And unless you have vision on them, this is really risky. Unless you're sure of where they are and sure that they can't just run to Baron, this is a very risky play, because like a Nocturne or a Renekton can probably just 2-man that Baron, and then you guys are going to be in trouble, because then they're going to be basically as strong as you. The gold's going to be even. I mean, you guys can't see the gold, but they're going to have the buff. Leona's getting auto caught there. She's probably out of position. She didn't want to hang back. You guys probably have wards in here if you're going to push like this. Good not to face check. Ari's there, and you get caught with the charm. And their Nocturne disconnects at a really unfortunate time for them. And you guys are able to clean up the fight, because basically Ez and Nocturne didn't contribute very much. And then Nocturne reconnects. I'm sure he was not happy about that. But yeah, you got caught with the charm. I mean, it's not the worst thing for you to get caught, because basically you're just eating up CC and soaking damage at this point in the game and trying to provide utility. But you never want to get hit with something you could just dodge. You knew she threw the ball first, so you knew the charm was something that could come out, something that was around that range. So just making that mistake is just something you want to avoid, even though you didn't get punished for it in this particular case. You're probably going back to finish the mallet, I'd imagine, unless you're going warm logs. Oh, you do. Okay, you do opt for the glacial shot. So that's actually like the first real itemization choice I'm really a big fan of right now. I think Randuin's might be better just because it has the slow, and although they have ADs, they're really not attack speed ADs. Renekton's more of like a caster, and Ezreal has a lot of abilities, so reducing the attack speed, excuse me, isn't as effective as it would be against like a Vayne or a Kog'Maw or one of those champions. But still, I think Frozen Heart is a great item, one of the most efficient items in the game. The cooldown reduction is really insane, really great for you. This Renekton took a ton of damage, and I think it's a good. I think realizing that you need the armor is good. I think Renekton can still fight you in a very big way right now, so you need to be cautious of that. Basically, you guys got caught out. You didn't have enough wards. Renekton jumped on you, and Fizz, your most fed person, who's very squishy right now. He has no defensive items, died instantly, and that just lost you the fight very, very quickly. I didn't see if Ezreal was actually there. It should have helped because you guys barely left a bunch of them alive, and Ezreal is very strong. But overall, you just need to be. Oh wow, Ezreal's making a very strong play right now. Cleaning up, he might get the second one. Wow, Ezreal really made a big play there. He might have been able to get a couple more had Renekton not made a great play to come back and make sure he was finished off, because he was able to kite the other people rather effectively. But right now, you guys are definitely on the back foot. I definitely say that, and I think it's really a time when you need to really understand what you need to be doing in these fights. Really understand that you need to be chasing the Ez out, even though he's not farmed. He will still do a lot of damage if you just leave him there. You need to be protecting the Fizz, because Fizz is doing a ton of damage protecting the Ezreal. If Renekton goes for that Ezreal, you just need to stun him, you just attack him, get your Phage procs on him, do some true damage to him, scare him off. Protect your carries. You're not basically at this point you're not really strong enough to dive through them. So protecting your carries is really better. Like, playing that support role is what's going to be the most important. I mean, getting on Ezreal is great if you catch him out, but your priority is definitely protecting your two carries. And I think that's what you need to prioritize. You build a Warmogs. I don't agree with that. I think the utility from you sell the Glacial Shroud for the Warmogs. That just gives you even less utility. It's late game. Farming up the Warmogs isn't guaranteed. Warmogs takes 100 CS to farm, and you only have 179 at 33 minutes. I don't know how much more you intended to get, but I think that's a bad choice. I think keeping Glacial Shroud and finishing the Frozen Mallet would be a much better choice. I think fortunately your team basically just won a 4v5. They did win a 4v5 without you. But I feel like you just made definitely the wrong item choice there. And looks like you guys are about to. You have 4 minutes left in the game. But looks like you guys just took the advantage back definitely. And you're now up a good amount of gold. You have an inhib down. I think it's a good idea to run right at the Nexus towers. I think you guys probably could have just finished the game, given how much damage this Ezreal does. But it's good that you backed off of that plan when you realized your team wasn't coming. Don't die to this. Okay. That you probably just wanted to back off there. You probably maybe just realized too late and just wanted to get it, and you definitely got it. So not terrible, but Ezreal. Wow, good play by Ari. Not a great play by Ezreal. But I think that was probably a mistake. I think if you had a Glacial Shroud, you probably would have survived there. And I think it's good that you got the 2 inhibs. Puts a lot of pressure on them, and you have 3 towers you can take top. So it'll be great to be able to push those lanes well they're getting pressure through the bottom once you just kind of push these lanes out, once you respawn, once Ezreal respawns. That's definitely something that you'll be able to do, and I think that will work out well. Renekton does fall off, and he's probably starting to see that, which is one of the reasons why you guys are probably coming back. This Nocturne built rather squishy, built like a lot of lifesteal, but only a Frozen Mallet for tankiness, not like a Heart of Gold, not like the Randuins like you see a lot of times. He has the Wit's End, I guess, and he does have, you know, he has some defense. He's definitely not squishy, but I mean, for as fed as he is, he could definitely be doing a little less damage with a little more tankiness, and still being probably more effective. And that's definitely helping you guys out. And this Ezreal, I guess, just got a bunch of assists, didn't get the kills, and he's building basically 2 attack damage items in a row, which isn't allowing him to scale multiplicatively, which is probably, you know, hurting his damage output too. So the enemy's definitely made some strange itemization choices. The Nautilus built really defensive, and no cooldown reduction, and he's not really someone you want to target, so that's another thing to think about. If you're not going to target him and he's just building all defense, then his items really do nothing. You can just finish him off at the end of the fight, and it won't really be an issue in terms of his Thornmail and his Banshees and his, you know, Merc Treads. Now's a great time for you guys to just pick up the top tower, pick up the blue. These are all good things to be doing. Pick up the second tower. They probably can't defend. Basically, you guys can just camp at the towers, and if they come to defend, just let the other 2 lanes just push into the base, apply pressure. As soon as somebody goes back, you guys can just take their base, is what, you know, take the towers that they leave. You guys are going to the jungle. Nocturne's split off. He does have his ults to get here if he needs to, but just something to, you know, realize that Nocturne's not with you. Now he's coming back. That's a good play by him. It's good, you know, not just use your ult to get into the fight, but use your ult to position correctly in the fight as Nocturne. Now, so you're getting on the Ezreal. You chased Ez completely out, which is not bad. Your team definitely cleaned up there. You kept 2 people on you. Like I said, at the state of the game you're in, it might have been better just to focus on protecting your carries, but your carries, you know, did pretty well by themselves with the Irelia protecting them. Your Fizz is going back. He's really low, but there's really no reason to go back. If the Ezreal comes to kill him, he'll lose his base. So Fizz could just be pushing for free, basically. But I understand why he went back. I don't, you know, necessarily agree with it. I think if he plays cautiously, he'll never die in a situation where it won't win you the game. But you know, things look like it's about to wrap up now. Looks like you guys are about to win this, which is great. You guys made some good plays. And you finished your Frozen Mallet now. I think you definitely need to work on the itemization choices. Look at what kind of damage they're outputting. Maybe not start with the Philistone every time. Maybe not go with Teleport every time. Maybe look at who's in the lane against you. This is probably blind pick, so you might not have had that opportunity. But you could have, you know, got the items, got the tabbies, and be able to stick in lane, not have got run over so much, and let him get out of control. And I think that would definitely help you out. And I think definitely when you're behind, go for more utility. Go for the Irelias, go for the Frozen Mallet, go for the Randuins, go for maybe even the Frozen Heart. And then I think you'll contribute even more to the team. And, you know, I mean, you got, you know, carried in a lot of ways. And I think helping your team to carry you is a great skill, an important skill, if you want to win a lot of games.